The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Shoreline Fire Washington, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 35057. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the face of the front bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren on the passenger side. Just inside of that location, you'll find your electronic speaker and PA speaker. Just inside of that, attached to the frame rails, you'll find 2 tow hooks located directly in the center of the unit 164. As you move over to the driver's side face of the bumper, you'll find dual air horns. Let's move up onto the body. On the outer edges, you'll find a marker clearance light turn indicator. As we move inside of that location, you'll find the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam will be located on the inside. As we move above the headlight structure, you'll find emergency warning lights. There are 2 sets. Just beneath the Pierce logo is where you'll find the release mechanism for the hood. And as we move up onto the windshield area, you'll find 3 windshield wipers on the seamless one-piece windshield. Moving to the outer edges, you'll find your mirror, housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the top on the passenger side, you'll find a downward-facing convex mirror. Moving to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights. Located between the center clearance lights, you'll find a forward-facing camera. Just above that location, you'll find a brow light up onto the roof. And then moving up onto the very top of the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located within inside the light bar is where you'll find your opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, let's start with the hood area. Inside on the passenger side is where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Just as a reference point, this is the windshield wiper motor. As we move over to the driver's side, you'll find the fill location for your engine radiator. And then moving just to the right, you'll find instructions for how to tilt and how to lower the cab. There is also a push button located here and a selector switch for determining up or down. To the right, you'll also find your power steering fluid location. There is a sight gauge. Let's go ahead and take a look at the entire side of the apparatus. And we'll now focus in on the cab area. Let's start with the wheel and tire assembly, Alcoa wheel and Bridgestone tires. In the center, you'll find a sight gauge. Also, as we move to the A-pillar front section, you'll find an emergency warning light. As we move up onto the door area, you'll find your door latch, which is easily accessible with a gloved hand and also a keyed entry. Moving just to the right of that door is where you'll find the grab handle for getting access in and out of the cab. You have 2 auto ejects, first electric and then also air. Also, you'll find when plugged into shore power, the indicator will also illuminate, indicating battery status. Let's move to the very rear wall of the cab where you'll find an emergency warning light, and just beneath that D handle will gain you access into a smaller compartment space. Over the window is where you'll find a side-facing floodlight. Also, as we move to the rear wall, you'll find your LED water tank level indicator. Let's take a look at some close-ups. First, Bridgestone tires, Alcoa wheels. Let's move up from this location to the operator's area. First, let's start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel is where you'll find all of our safety and warning information. Also, door latch and lock and electric windows grab handle. As we move to the step well, you'll find positive and negative battery termination points. And as we move up just above the floor level, you'll find this placard, manufactured for your fire department, indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, and also fluid type. Let's move from this location up about the left knee of the operator to the master battery switch. It's the red quarter turn switch. As we move downward, you'll find diagnostic locations for your maintenance team, and then just beneath that you'll find regen information and then also helpful switches for your diagnostic team. Let's move up from this location to the steering wheel. As we move to the outer edge of the steering wheel, you'll find air horn, lights, emergency lights, and also windshield wiper control and horn control. In the center, you'll find your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. On the left-hand side, you'll find your four-way flashers, start ignition. You'll also find just inside of that location a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights. Right next to that is your headlight switch and a panel switch allowing you to brighten or dim lights within the preview of the operator. On the opposite side of the steering column, OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. As we move up to the gauges, you'll find your transmission, oil, DEF level, and water temperature. On the right-hand side, you'll find front and rear air, fuel status, and also volts. Located in the center, your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right of this area and we'll talk about the center console area. First, starting with your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Right next to that, you're going to find the Pierce Command Zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual for more information. Further to the right is your Allison transmission pad, and then a switch panel housing the front flood, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, perimeter lights, and backup override. You have engine brake setting for low, medium, and high, engine brake on and off switch, off-road traction, front wheel lock, tire chains, and mirror heat. Moving just to the right, you'll find air pressure gauge. You'll also find just on the other side of that your tire pressure management system, indication here. As we move to the center, you'll find for your camera system the view option or event option for record. As we move further down, you'll find the pump shift. There are instructions here from road to pump instructions and then from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need two green indicators, pump engaged, OK to pump, active before exiting the cab for pump operations. Also, just beneath that, just some caution and warning information. Always engage the parking brake and the front wheel lock with the engine running. Caution, disengage the retarder, also when on slippery and wet surfaces. At the very top section, you'll find the mirror control for the right and left mirror. In the very center, you'll find climate control for heat, defrost, and air conditioning front and rear. As we move overhead of the operator's seat, let's focus in on the left side. This is the yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 10.10 inches, length 31 feet 2.06 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating 46,800 pounds. Just to the right, we have some memory switches, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and opticom. The next set of switches house the air horn, mechanical siren, the mechanical siren brake, momentary opticom, load manager, and defroster fans. Moving further to the right, you'll find the traffic advisor module. And then further to the right again is where you'll find your FireCom module. And then further to the right again, you'll find your seatbelt information center, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they're in the seat and belted. Let's go from this location to the rear section of the seat area where you'll find your auto charger. When plugged into shore power, this will become active. As we move now back out to the exterior, once again, Shoreline inlet. This is an auto eject plug. Just above that, when plugged into Shoreline power, the auto charge status center will illuminate. And to the right, we have our air eject. This is an air auto eject plug. Let's move now to the very center section of the cab. This is a do not move your apparatus located in the center section of your vehicle. If illuminating, do not move your apparatus. You have a compartment door ajar or open. As we move to the rear cab of the apparatus, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information. We do have EMS compartments rear facing with netting, LED lighting, and also switches on top of the actual cabinet. As we move inside the compartment, you'll also find, once again, the LED lighting and then also 12-volt access. Let's move to the rear now of the apparatus, rear portion of the engine. This will be for your daily checks. A lift and turn latch will gain you access to the rear section of the motor so you can do your daily checks for oil and transmission. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of the cab area. There are two forward-facing Scba seats located on the rear wall. As we move underneath those, there is a seat riser with additional storage underneath. Let's move exterior now. Just to the very rear section of the cab, there is additional storage. This is an addition through compartment underneath the seat location, accessible both from the passenger and driver side. Let's go ahead and start with the pump panel area. Behind the roll-up door will gain you access into this space. This is going to be your cross light. You have two located in this location. Also a backboard storage location right next to it. You do have a Husky Foam System 3. These are the specification and instruction placards. And also you'll find your master gauge for your pump intake, and on the other side your master pump discharge gauge. In between the two of those is the pressure gauge for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged, and those are for testing purposes. As we move further to the right in the blue module, this is going to be your water tank level indicator. As we move to the foam level indicator A, it is the red module. Let's move now down to the Husky foam system. There are instructions on this module for operation. And then as we move further to the right, you'll find your throttle pressure governor, and then also an analog gauge for your fuel. Let's move downward onto the pump panel area. We'll start on the left-hand side of the pump panel with this warning label, entanglement hazard. Because of those lines from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. As we move to the right, you'll find your reel discharge. It is foam capable. Also a reel rewind. Just beneath that, you're going to find an audible alarm. This is a speaker, and the outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound. To the right, switch panel with an indicator also OK to pump, indicating a green light. Your minimum operation maintenance schedule on the very far left. We'll go over that in just a few minutes. And then let's move further down where you'll find all of our discharges for number 1 and number 2 crosslay, and also the number 1 left side. Let's move just to the right of the switch panel where you'll find additional discharges. As we move further down on the pump panel, you'll find 3 electric valves. These are the control modules for them. Moving further to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer, which is a push to prime air prime. There are instructions for 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Further to the right, you have your tank fill and then also tank to pump. Just note that in is open and out is closed. Moving further down, these are going to be your 2 master intake valves for the passenger and driver side. This is also the override for the one on the driver's side. To the right, you'll find your large diameter pump intake, and then just beneath that, you're going to find this warning label. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after they received proper training. As we move further down across the very bottom, we're going to find our recirculating line and also engine cooler. At the very bottom section, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move just to the right of the large diameter intake. At the very top section on the pan door is where you're going to find a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also to the right, you'll find the placard regarding the type of pump that you have, which is a Hale pump. Just beneath that, you're going to find the pump drain, manual pump shift, and then further to the right, you'll find your foam fill operations for draft and tank. Just on the other pan door, you're going to find an access panel door. On that door, you'll find a warning label regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. Let's go back to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. On the left, the associated GPM. On the right, the associated RPM at test pressure. Up at the very top, you'll find 35057-02. This is your second engine out of the order. Let's move now to the placard regarding your Hale. It is a QMax 150. And now as we look inside the pan door, you'll find also your relief valve. Moving into the opposite pan door, you'll find your foam fill operations. Let's go ahead and move downward under the running board area where you'll find your foam pump intake drain, foam pump discharge drain, and then also the manifold drain. Let's move from here into the compartment area. We'll discuss some of those things. In front of the front axle is where you're going to find your folding wheel chock. As we move into the compartment, you'll find also a tool compartment or toolbox, and then also adjustable shelving and pegboard. At the very top section of the pegboard area in the vertical side sheet, you'll find 12-volt access. As we move now, you'll find Scba bottle storage with a retaining strap in the front compartment, also a single Scba bottle storage location in the rear of the axle. This is a combination door which is also going to house your fuel and DEF. Currently exposed to the silver cap, which is the ultra low sulfur diesel. When the flap is moved in the downward position, it will cover the silver cap and expose the blue cap, which is your 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. It is the blue cap. As we move into the compartment, once again, adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and dry deck material inside those compartments. As we move to the rear of the axle, you'll find also a folding wheel check. At the very top section, you'll find 12-volt access, once again on the vertical side sheet. And then at the very bottom section, you'll find a Shoreline inverter outlet. General view here of the entire compartment's open. Let's move around now from this location to the rear of the apparatus. Compartments are in the open position. We'll start where the arrow is indicating, which is going to be a switch for your rear scene lights. As we move upward from this location and more toward the center area, this is the hose bed area. You'll find additional discharges located at the rear. Also some warning information regarding fall hazard. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. If you're climbing on the vehicle, always face the vehicle. And then also a pressure hazard warning. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening the cap. As we move to the left, you'll find the 2.5-inch discharge to the rear. And then as we move to the center compartment, roll-up door will gain us access into this area. And then also right next to that is your large diameter rear discharge. Let's take a general view of the right side with the compartment drawers in the outward position. The release mechanisms are going to be on the right-hand side of the hinge. We're at the very top section here. We have an additional door located at the top. And then just beneath that, you'll find long-handled tool storage, a 10-foot folding ladder, 24-foot extension ladder 2-section, and a 14-foot roof ladder. Let's go ahead and take a look at the entire side of the vehicle. All compartments are in the open position. Let's go through these compartments starting from the rear, working our way forward. The rear compartment at the very bottom section has a pull-out tray, adjustable shelves in the upper portion, and then in the upper vertical section, you'll find 12-volt access. I think I have an image here of the shelf in the outward position. The release mechanism, once it's pulled outward, will lock. The release is on the lower right-hand side of the shelf. As we move to the center compartment, you can find Scba storage locations with retaining straps in front of and rear of the rear axle. You also have an oxygen storage bottle in this compartment. Let's go ahead and move upward where you'll find the toolboard located in the upper section. There is a D handle will gain you access to the rear section and a lock on the rear hinge. As we move to the forward section, pull-out tray in the bottom section, adjustable shelving, and also pegboard in the lower rear section and upper section. At the very top section, vertical side sheet, you'll also find 12-volt access and also an inverted Shoreline plug. I would like to point out this warning label. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operations. As we move underneath, you can get a glimpse here of your automatic tire change deployed from within inside the cab via a switch. Let's move forward now from this location, and the upper portion is the access point for the booster reel or red line. As we move downward on the pump panel, and slightly to the right is where you'll find the crosslay backboard storage and then also your two crosslays. Just a quick reminder here, warning regarding when climbing on the vehicle, always face it. Because of those 3 electronic valves, we do have to have overrides for those, and these are the locations here. They're clearly color-coded and labeled. To the right, because of those crosslays, entanglement warning hazard, and then also the large diameter passenger side discharge, which is going to be the green. That's on this side also. The Hail Master intake valve manual override located on the left. Just to the right is your large diameter pump intake, and that's what that override is for because it has an electric valve.
As we move further to the right, you'll find the 2.5-inch auxiliary ball valve. This is a female coupling. And then the lower left-hand side, this is all color-coded and labeled discharge drains. I think I have a close-up here of the step located on the side sheet. And let's move now to the cab section. Rear section of the cab wall, we have an additional compartment here. This is that through compartment that goes all the way to the driver's side. Inside that compartment in the upper section, we do have long-handled tool storage area here. Now we'll go ahead and move inside to the rear section of the cab area. Once again, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information. Overhead, push on and off either white or red lens, and also stereo speakers. As we move to the rear section, we've seen this before, the center mounted seats with the storage compartment just underneath. As we move forward to this location, we have exterior access to the rear compartment behind the officer space. We do have also 12-volt access in this compartment. Let's move out of this compartment, move to the very front section, officer space. Once again, affixed to the door panel, we have all of our safety and warning information placard. Door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As we move to the forward section of the dash, we have a vehicle equipped with a supplemental restraint system, SRS, airbag. They also have a warning label regarding mounting any equipment within this area. Let's go ahead and go to the floorboard area. We'll find your foot pedal for the mechanical siren. Let's move directly behind the officer seat, and you'll find these red and black indications for 12-volt access. Also, as we move just left of the officer position, you'll find 12-volt access via USB, and then forward of that location, you'll find the vehicle data recorder. General view overhead, same thing, push on and off white or red lenses. Let's start with a few of the components. First, on the officer side, you'll find the Panasonic Weather Band Sirius XM CD player, AM/FM radio. Firecom wireless base station mounted on the underside. We do have some switch panels for your front flood, driver's side, and passenger side scene, and also a siren brake. This is the general module for your siren control and PA speaker system. And you'll also find, once again, intense lights facing down and center fans in the very center for defrost. As we move to the roof section of the vehicle, or top section, dunnage area, let's start first with the cab section. This is a non-walking surface because there are no rails in this area and it may be slippery. That's why we have these warning labels affixed to the roof area. As we move to the rear section, you'll find a center divider and also a split hose bed. Moving back to the dunnage area, you'll find your master stream device in the center. Moving to the left, you'll find your booster line, tensioning and free spool, and also manual rewind. As we move to the very rear section of that master stream device, this is your electronic valve control module for your master stream device. Also, we have a step located here. And then as we move to the forward section, this is your Husky foam system. This is the hydraulic reservoir. There is a sight gauge located and a fill location. Let's go back to the booster line real quick. This is the manual rewind and also the free spool or tension knob. As we move to the master stream device, once again, the cover directly under the picture image where I'm standing is going to be your deluge discharge. This is an electronic valve that will control your master stream device. Also, we have fill locations top mount for your A foam, and it also has a warning label regarding not mixing different brands or consistencies. Top fill for your water tank. And then also we have on the outer edges hatch compartments, 2 on the passenger side and 2 on the driver's side. Congratulations, Shoreline Fire Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35057. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.